what is that other game that is that kind of stole Marathon's lunch? Came out last year. Same kind of gameplay. People loved it. If you're listening to this podcast, you've already thought of it and you're screaming it in your car as you're driving down the road. It's an extraction shooter. It's
My eyes are glazing over because it's all the same to me.
dang it, it's like rats in my tongue. It's I know it's like on the front page of like freaking everything right now, but I'll look it up later. I'm gonna name the episode after it. I'm just joking. I'm not gonna do that.
Hello and welcome to another Dead Pixel, where a podcast about video games, anime, entertainment, life, a little bit of everything in between. I'm your host, as always, Joe, and with me, the gentleman who on May the 4th goes to every bar to pick up the girls with the line of, "Let me check your midichlorians," or would you like to see how big my midichlorian level is? Nick, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Yeah, the thing is that you have to have a high midichlorian count, and mine is like it's like 1.8 quintillion. So that's pretty high. It's not the highest, obviously, but it's pretty high. It's like top 99 percentile. But so yeah, you just have to have that worked out. And usually they're impressed. I got to be honest. They're impressed. Um, so it's funny that you bring that up because we were joking with this guy at work, and and I was saying, I was literally saying that he goes to bars and tells people his tells girls his elo, uh, and to pick up chicks at bars. Um, and he said that it works every time. So yeah. Anyway,
I just figure, it works like your Scientology Dayton level. It's just like, for those in the
is
know,
that
they
it? Is that
know,
what's
but
called the Satan level?
Satan.
Oh, Thetan. I'm sorry, I forgot Thetans. Yeah, not too different, but okay.
Uh,
Yeah. Have you been seeing? I mean, we have to talk about this now because you brought it up. Have you been seeing the speed runs, the Scientology speed runs?
oh yeah. I only saw one, but I heard it's continuing to happen. So
I think they did it. They started them at not what is it called? I think it's at X, or maybe it's some Elon Musk, one of the Elon. I think maybe it's Tesla, some Elon Musk company. They've started doing speed runs. I don't know how long that's gonna last, but the Scientology ones, I think people can kind of get behind just because it's just it's just funny. But yeah, they're probably gonna get prosecuted pretty bad, but those are just funny.
yeah, well, I mean, it's one of those things that I think people can get behind. Like, okay, of all the stupid things kids could be doing, at least it's not hurting anyone, or like kicking people's doors down and shit like that.
I
So
mean, it's one of these times they're gonna get warned, like, "Hey, you can't come in here, or we will shoot." And then, I mean, maybe not in California, but in one of these other states, it's gonna happen, and somebody's gonna get messed up real bad, or gonna get tackled, and they're gonna be within their right to tackle them, and yeah, I'm just waiting for it to get bad enough for it to stop, but hasn't reached that point yet.
the things you'll do for clout, though, right? So, uh,
This podcast, yeah.
all right. Well, let's see now. So I'm glad that the key takeaway is you didn't say allegedly, so you confirmed that
Oh
everything I just
no.
mentioned was
Oh,
true about you.
no.
So, all right.
Checkmate.
Now that you've been exposed for your pickup tactics, at least on May the 4th, or at any other convention, yeah, let's go ahead and roll right into what we've been playing. So, Nick, what have you been playing?
So I'm 11 hours into Pragmata. This is a game by Capcom, if you haven't heard. So you are it's like near future, though the stuff that you're kind of doing is pretty futuristic, but it's near future. You're a astronaut. It's kind of a weird word to use, but technically you're an astronaut that is that has gone with a group of guys up to the moon, and there's a whole moon base, and you're going to be doing like work in and around the moon. Bad stuff happens, and your crew. You're separated from your crew, and there is a robot, which is what they're calling, which is they're calling them Pragmata, but it's a very humanoid android robot, but it's a little girl, and she has a weird designation, but you end up calling her Diana, which I don't know too much about this aspect of Greek mythology or Roman mythology or whatever, but Diana is a goddess of the moon, I think. Has I don't know, so something about the moon and Diana. So I was like, okay, I see what you did there a little bit. But basically, so you are this astronaut guy with a cool suit. You get weapons, and Diana, the little girl robot, rides on your back, and she hacks the bad robots that you have to fight as you go through this moon base and try to figure out what's going on and stuff like that. So it's a little bit Dead Space. It's kind of a lot bit Dead Space, but not really scary. There are some kind of tense moments, but yeah, it's so that's kind of the long and short of the gameplay and sort of what's going on. And yeah, I'm 11 hours in. I think I'm pretty close to the end. I think this game is supposed to be about between 10 and 15 hours, depending on how fast you go through it. It feels like I have probably 3 or 4 more hours to go if I really try to kind of get through it quickly. But yeah, I'm having a good time with it. I think that this game is, knock on wood, but I think that this game is at least an 8. I think it's probably more like an 8.5. I'm having a hard time getting to 9 with it because I think that the story is maybe a little bit. It's not that the story is bad or anything. I just think the story is really good. I just don't think there's like enough there to really push it into like like a 9, like a 9 out of 10. But the game is really good. The shooting in it is really tight and clean. The types of weapons that they give you have to like the way they gate you into the weapons is like you can only use this weapon so much before you have to switch to that one. Before that one overheats or runs out, and you have to switch to another thing. So they really make the gameplay very dynamic. Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty popular. I think I saw that it reached 2 million in sales, which I think is very good overall. It's it's just weird to me that Capcom decided to just release this game in a stacked year that they themselves have a bunch of really good games coming out. I think they just like this game has been around for a while, at least in terms of like in development for a while. It seems like they just wanted to. It seems like they had it ready, and they're like, well, we can't hold it for a year, for like another year. We have to put it out, and because it's not that big of a game, but yeah, it's very nice looking overall. Plays great. Story is good enough to keep you engaged and asking questions. Um, yeah, it's definitely going to be on my game of the year list. I think it's right now it's sitting at number 3 for me. Hopefully it doesn't do anything stupid that makes it like really bad or whatever. But like right now it's sitting at that point for me, and it'll probably end up in the top 10. It have to be some really great games that have to come out between now and the end of the year for it to really fall out of the top 10. But yeah, I'm enjoying it a lot.
Oh, that's good to hear. Yeah, just to answer the question you kind of had before, yeah, Diana is the Roman equivalent of Artemis. So goddess of the hunt and the moon and childbirth. So, yeah, it's I guess enough things in life are named after Artemis. So they're like, let's just switch it a little bit, not be so on the nose, uh,
Because like
and
no one
make
is
stuff.
like named, like no one would name. I mean, people do, but Diana is a common-ish name that somebody would actually maybe name a robot child. Whereas Artemis is like, oh, that's too much. It's just too much too much nail on the head.
Yeah, plus Artemis would be more, the idea is to make this robot more humanoid. So Diana would be more human name, while Artemis would be much more if they were on the more robotic terms of it. They're like, let me give you a name other than whatever serial number you have, but we're going to humanize you, but not make you too human. So in this case, it's supposed to be more on the human side. So that makes sense. Yeah, I'm glad you're liking this. I know this game isn't supposed to be too terribly long. It just seemed to be like a lot of 15, 16 hours for mostly complete gameplay. So
Okay.
it feels like you're hitting pretty close. And yeah, right now I haven't had too much time to play it myself, so I don't really have a lot to say on it. You by far covered everything that needs to be covered. Hopefully next time we'll get around to it. I'll have a lot more into it, if not be done by then. So we'll see.
I think
All
the
right.
only other thing that I would really say about it is that like it is that there's nothing in it I've seen so far that is completely new. Um, we've had hacking for a while. We've there's probably people that have done hacking plus shooting and stuff like that. What I will say is that it is very complete. Everything I've touched in it is very complete, very much thought out. Where the shooting is exactly right, the hacking is exactly right, the level design, level length, save points, training, missions, everything is it's I don't want to say paint by numbers because that's a little bit reductive, but it is like everybody on the team went to design like video game design school and understands perfectly what a video game needs to be, and they have taken modicums of different, novelty, new ideas, and gone, okay, we're going to infuse like 10% new into 90% perfectly executed. And it ends up being a really really good, if not great, game wherever your demarcation line is for that. It is like, okay, there's nothing bad about this. And that's it sounds like I'm dogging on it kind of almost, but that is like such a refreshing thing, is when a game is just not bad. It's hard to understand or hard to conceptualize how good of a thing that is when a game is just not bad and how great that makes it. But I think that's at least where this game sits. It's like, this game, you guys didn't screw up like really at all as far as I've played through 11 hours. So yeah, anyway, I'm looking forward to you getting deeper in and seeing the rest of it, because I'm interested to see what you have to say about further things that happen on in the game.
Yeah, for sure. It's one of those things that I remember when the game was first announced and all the theories came up behind it, and the Mega Man fandom was like, is it secretly a Mega Man game? I'm like, that's completely stupid, but that'd be kind of amazing if it was. But yeah, I just uh, that's just how bad Mega Man fans are jonesing. But it would have been a fun take. But yeah, all right. Anyways, we'll get more from you about Pragmata next time around, and myself included. For me, though, on the other hand, uh, the only real game I've been putting my teeth into is actually an old game, a really old game that you played just last year, I think it was, which was the Untitled Goose Game.
Oh right.
I played this one long ago, but at the same time, I've never played it with my kids, and I gotta say it's a perfect game for children. What I mean, it's a multiplayer game, but what I did is I'm letting us all pass around the controller, and you can most definitely just ham this up with them while sitting on the couch, and the kids will love it. There's no fail state. So for those who have been living under a rock or just this isn't your kind of game, Untitled Goose Game. It's literally the title of the game. It's you play as a goose who wreaks havoc in a town, little like UK town, and it's very minimalist in the art style. There is no fail state. You just run around and you have a checklist, a literal checklist, that a to-do list that you need to go through. Uh, Things like get the get the gardener wet, or throw the rake in a lake. Things of that nature. Try to get the gardener to wear a different hat. Um, and it's a little bit of a puzzle kind of game where you're like, all right, you need to get the Rugoberg like effect in a way. Like, what can I do to this to distract them so I can do this and maybe get this to happen? So it's just kind of funny because as you're playing the game, your controls are pretty limited. You have essentially the head on a swivel. You can move your head like up and down. You grab things, you flap your arms, and you honk, and that's really about it. So as you're running around, one of the checklists is like set up a picnic, and there's a picnic blanket down. So you have to grab all the key items to put on the blanket to get the picnic started for no one essentially. And as you're rummaging through the gardener's belongings, they'll try to shoo you out, and so it becomes a cat and mouse type of game. A little bit of stealth action there because you get to hide under tables or within taller like tree like grass type of things, and it's I've if you want to see like younger kids kind of like literally like laugh out loud and uh, giggle uncontrollably, this is a great kind of game for that. It's what I quickly showed like here's how you play the game. Here's the controller. Here you do it now, and then you're like. Right, and then you just ham it up, just like, oh no, watch out, it's gonna get you, and absolutely great. Uh, it's maybe depending on the age of the kids, I mean, controller might be a little difficult, so you just help them out a little bit, let them control the thumbstick, and just kind of help guide them, and while you do the triggers for them.
Just give them a keyboard and
But yeah,
mouse.
yeah, it's yeah, let them grow up the way it's meant to be played.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah, this is a perfect couch kind of game. You can do couch co-op. At this point, I'm like, no, we're just gonna pass the single controller. Uh, Less likely to draw ire from each other, But
Yeah.
it's a lot of no, you got to do this. No, you got to do that. You got to run. So it's
Facilitating
uh,
communication through one controller. Yeah.
but and giving each other fair amount of gameplay. But it is a very simple, very short game. But I think it's just like it's a perfect ease into because there's like I said, due to the fact that there's no fail state, all they do is shoo you out of the area in different means, and as you harass people, you can chase a kid into a phone booth and get him stuck in there. Essentially, uh, you make the gardener fall down, and then you steal his hat, and then you have to like run like hell with his hat. So he then changes his hats, and then like boom, that's how you get like one of the checklists done. There's a lot of you know, like I said, simple puzzle solving, but it's on an entertaining scale. I think this game is best played with somebody. Doesn't have to be children. I think it's just a friend, a spouse, or something. Just having someone there because it's stupid and it's fun to laugh out loud or have them, like criticize and it is more entertaining than just being, doing the checklist by yourself, trying to play it straight and serious. So a game like this is most definitely meant to be played around others. So all right. That's really it. I know it's an old game, but it's always on sale. It's really cheap. It's on everything. PC, all the consoles. So I would recommend easily for children, but also as a party group game.
It is a really good, wholesome game. I mean, so that is what's really great about it for kids and stuff. But it's just very well designed overall. I mean, doesn't try to do too much. Very short, obviously, but pretty much perfectly designed and fully, utilizes all 2-3 hours or whatever that it takes. And then there's a lot of like extra stuff, so you can go through and do the harder missions or whatever the sides content is. You can pick that up without too much trouble as well. Yeah, when it came out, it was pretty much widely critically acclaimed, just for how succinctly kind of perfect it was. So yeah, I'm glad you are showing that to your kids. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it kind of makes it real relevant too because their next big title was just announced at one of the more recent events, and that was Big Walk. So the
Yeah,
developer is House,
right.
and Big Walk was just slated for 2026. Supposed to come out for PCs, I believe, the PS5, Windows, and Mac OS. So that's kind of what they're looking at right now. I'm it has a cutesy art style with those like uh I would say like Pikmin-esque, size characters like
Yeah.
on the beach or something like that. So yeah, I'm once again after playing Untitled Goose Game after having touched it for years, been like, yeah, this is totally up the right alley. And yeah, just thought I'd recommend that and to at least this way keep your eyes peeled for uh Big Walk. So all right. So let's go to what we've been watching. Let's see here. So more anime on the loose, more of it getting dubbed. Some good, some bad, some questionably deep, maybe. I don't know. It's for you to decide.
Hmm.
And I'm gonna let you decide. So Nick, tell us about your impressions of Needy Girl Overdose.
Yeah. So you reached out to me and said, "Hey, there's this anime called Needy Girl Overdose that I think you should watch." Um, and I had seen it pop up, but and it had caught my attention. So I was like, I wonder what this is really going to be kind of like. It was kind of on my list, but whenever you said that, I was like, okay, I really got to watch this then. So I went and watched the first episode dubbed, um, and I could instantly tell what you were kind of getting at. Needy Girl Overdose is very strange. I don't remember the last time that there was an anime quite this, what's the word, avant-garde. Um, that an anime this avant-garde has come out. Um, it's hard to say what it's like actually about because it's not entirely clear in the first episode. But generally, what I think it's about is it's social commentary on social, like on how social networks affect us, and it's sort of a near future, sort of maybe slightly dystopian kind of future of where everything is connected to this your social network score, essentially some kind of like social credit score or something. um but the way that this anime does things is very strange. It has a lot of kind of subversive text that pops up. It has a very strange. So this is a 16 and up anime, and when you start to watch, you're like, okay, and then you go, okay, I see why they needed to make this 16 and up. There's a very strange, to end the episode, the first episode. There's a very strange, I'll call it love scene that is, um, it's just very strange. In maybe a just a yeah, it's a weird scene. There's there's other parts of it. There's other parts of the episode that have like that are a little bit all over the place in terms of like they have people just like playing a game with like a space background where like a reporter is talking to them. And yeah, so I guess my takeaway from this show so far is I can't tell if it's really trying to say something or if it's just trying to get your attention with weirdness, and it's going to say basically the same kind of junk that we've not really junk, but like the same sort of story that we've all heard, like, oh, social networks are bad, or what is this doing to us, but so far it seems like it's trying to at least be different, and for that I applaud it, and I am definitely very intrigued by it.
All right. Yeah, so uh Needy Girl Overdose is also known as Needy Streamer Overload,
Mhm.
and it's a PC game. You it's played differently. So the key visuals you get in like the opening credits or whatever of this, or whenever they show more of the like a 2D minimalist art style, is more from like lifted from the game. It's a kind of a
Right.
life sim management kind of thing. Is the kind of the way it plays out. So in the game itself, you're a manager and you're managing your streamer. and you're trying to get them a million followers is what you're trying to do.
Okay.
Uh, Episode one of the anime is more like a prologue to the series. I feel they do so. This is very much a fundamental like it could be very much an I am 13. This is deep.
Yeah.
Uh, but it depends on how cynical you are and also how much, uh, how well it ends. I guess you know like, if they start off kind of strong, but at the same time, it also depends on how jaded you are as a person, whether or not you think this might be going well or going terribly. Uh, I feel that it has kind of the manicness of like a Danganronpa, like twist on a lot of things, but at the same time, it has that kind of energy. But the presentation also reminds me of because you're trying to think of like, oh, I don't remember last time something has done kind of something like this. In my brain, I went quickly to an old anime called Serial Experiment Lane. Uh,
I was thinking Lane, but like I was like, surely somebody has had to have done something in that vein more recently than that far back.
They could have, but also I could, depending on how well that was
So that's like
done,
20 years ago, right?
it would have gotten kicked to the curb. Yeah, Lane was done in
Early 2000s.
98.
98. Wow. Okay, that's like almost
Yeah.
30 years ago. Wow.
So
Okay.
granted some of the dynamic has changed, but it was like, the early days of the internet and compute, so for Lane, and this is more like the peak of social media, but there's still a lot of overlap, and it's just the mental scatterbrain of like society. Uh, and as far as the Needy Girl Overdose goes, they do make reference to Clockwork Orange in the series because they have like the milk bar, um, and they do like the it's all about I guess, the abuse you get from, people and how we perceive as attention in one form or another. They do a lot of, self-reflecting in this anime, like over the current top streamer, who is K Angel, I believe was her name in this one.
Hmm.
And so she's talking about how, the fans, or people hate on her, and it's just like it's part of human nature and necessity. So it kind of tries to be uh self-analytical that way. Once again, it depends on like on its face, episode one, it's okay. Uh it's how they carry out the rest of it will determine retroactively if this is really good or turns out to be a bunch of fluff,
Like
and fan service.
like the way that they cut, the way that they show, like for a while, I don't know if they ever even did, but they like wouldn't show like the boyfriend's face. They just showed him like playing like on his game, and but he was talking, and they like the way they were trying to shoot things, and it was very strange where they weren't showing people's mouths and stuff like that. And then the cuts that they had, um all that stuff is just fluff if they don't make it part of the story. If they don't really add it in to what they're trying to say, because otherwise they're just trying to get your attention by being weird. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Like
it's being yeah, it depends if it's right now it's just being it could be if they drop the ball, it's gonna be weird. And like them trying to be edgy for edginess sake with no
right,
real substance. But if it actually if they hold true and if they make things they try to stick, I guess, quote unquote, stick to their guns, maybe, if they actually have something to say, like substantially, then it looks really promising. So it is really kind of up in the air right now. Only one episode's been dubbed. There's been a handful of subbed episodes. I'm just going to go continue with the dub as it goes on. But like I said, it was a lot of unique things were being done with this. That it was just okay. You have my attention. Now let's see if you can keep it.
yeah, yeah. And I mean,
So all right.
I'm just glad that someone is trying something weird. Like it may suck or whatever, but I just wish more anime would try to do something very off the wall and strange every once in a while. I didn't know it was a game though. I mean, like if I'd done any research, I would have known that. But so this is based off of some game. Like, is it a Because you said it's a
You can get
management
it
sim,
on
right?
Steam. You can get it on pretty much all the consoles:
Okay.
PS4, PS5, Switch. And then it's like the game came out in 2022 in Steam, or like it's on Steam.
Okay.
So it's once again very different. I'm not sure exactly. Like I said, the presentation's all very much simplistic management style from all the scenes they show. So
Mhm.
anytime they like in credit scenes sequences where they show them, like window paneled, and like a fake Windows desktop UI kind of thing. That's kind of how the game seems to be presented. I have never played the game myself. Those are just because when I saw it, I'm like, okay, this I remember this, and I just never really paid it much mind. Uh, but I am now more curious about the game. Depends if the anime pans out or not, whether or not I actually get interested in it. It's not like I said, it wasn't like a huge budgeted thing to my knowledge, so it's neat that something like this got an adaptation though, so that's kind of fun.
Yeah,
So
that
it's
yeah, I mean, if it came out in 2022, that means they probably saw the sales of the game or whatever and the popularity of the game and immediately jumped on creating the anime, um, or at least soon after because it's only been that's only 4 years ago. So
yeah, I mean, it's like if you told me like Doki Doki Literature Club got an anime adaptation, I'd be like, okay,
I mean,
Roger that,
I would be like I mean like having played that, I'd be like I want to see what they did. I mean there's ways in which that wouldn't work, but also the game itself is pretty linear. You have choices and stuff, but ultimately you're kind of just just reading through, and you could make that into that the problem with that would just be having to put so much emphasis on the protagonist because everything in the game is like through your eyes as the protagonist, so that'd be kind of
well, there's
weird.
been plenty of visual novels adapted to anime, so it
I
is
just don't
a
know how well it would work. I don't know how well those work, but it seems
uh,
weird.
yeah, it's they've done weirder that have been, I think, pretty successful. Like I can't remember the Japanese name, but I think the English title is When They Cry, which is a
Okay.
psychological horror, a visual novel kind of story, and it goes all kinds of ways. Doesn't seem uh, too significant at first, but then it just jumps off the rails really hard,
Yeah.
and then you're like, oh dang, and then as this different seasons have gone through because they made like at least 3 or 4 anime seasons, but like after by the end of season one or whatever, as it were, or series one, I guess, you're like, oh yeah, okay, now it does. You kind of has a hook that you're like, this kind of works, and then you make a new one. You're like, okay, how is this not going to be a rehash of the previous? And you're like, oh, well, they're making it well. So it's one of those. It's really weird, really messed up. Things like have been done well. So I'm kind of hoping that in this case, Needy Girl Overdose or the game Needy Streamer Overload, like it's hopefully if it's done well, it'll be like one of those prior mentioned. It's just like it has been done, it can be done. Here's fingers crossed to hopefully it being done again. So like I like something unique like this. Uh if it sucks, then I'm sorry, guys. Like I for bringing this to your attention. Yeah. Okay then. Let's see. So some of the things I've gotten some season 2 showings are Farming Life in Another World season 2. This is one of those isekai'd into the perfect slow harem life, uh, meant for the sad and lonely otaku out there who just want to take it easy and want everything handed to them. This is that living that fantasy lifestyle for you. The main character in season one, sick and bedridden in illness, and then gets reincarnated. Happens to be given a healthy body. Turns out they're given like a superhuman body essentially. They just don't realize it, and then they're given a farm tool. Turns out the farm tool can transform into whatever they kind of wish for, as far as helping out with the farm. And apparently, because their superhuman body, only they can use the holy blessed weapon, because anyone else essentially would be drained of vitality and die. So they happen to wind up in a forest that is essentially the demon forest or cursed land, and thanks to uh, plot armor, they get all the harem girls that come by, essentially. This is season 2 of that show. It is more of the same. Uh, it's just literally like might as well just be slice of life thing. It's stupid, but it's easy background fodder. It's not a bad series by any means, but it's nothing groundbreaking remotely. It's just like it's there. So I'm very surprised they got a season 2 is what it is. I'm just very surprised. I'm like, all right, I guess it sold well enough. Uh, all right, another season 2 that I got surprised in is Wisteria, Wands and Swords. Season 2 is literally takes off after season 1. Problem is, it's been a minute since season 1, and I kind of forgot what this was, where exactly they left off. Uh, so this story is essentially about a boy who goes to a magic school, and he has 0 magic. He wants to use a sword in a school of wands. So it's just like, all right. But it's because his childhood friend happened to be a wizard, essentially, and a prodigy at that. They ascend to a tower with only the handful of elite mages are, and he's like, "I'm going to follow you, though I have 0 capability, but because of my effort and my guts, I'm just going to make it my way, despite everything." And the art style, the action was really good in season 1. It's actually was one of the really unique parts about it. They kind of fully go in on the Wizarding Academy kind of motif. You know, very much Harry Potter, but more teen oriented. And the the world they build is very uh, quiet, I guess is the best way to put it. It's a small town that they're in. They don't explain anything about the rest of the world. It's just that the town has a tower has a dome, like a protective barrier, and without that, they'd be dead. They don't really explain how a whole lot about the rest of the world. It's just like, all right, that's it. The wizards on top literally make the shield, and we're all okay because of them. So that's it. And that's why you want to be to the top. Like, okay. But this guy literally takes like after exams and other tests, he's like, and he's now still in school, still doing his thing, but now he has new hurdles to overcome. And they do quickly up the ante right away in the beginning. They're like, all right, now here's a new real threat, uh, you know. But once again, I think it's best to watch season 2 right after watching season 1. So because
As
I was just like,
usual, yeah, that's pretty par
but
for the course.
they do some heavy heavy lifting to make it, at least a little bit different. I'm like, okay, they had the guts to uh move some pieces around some people, and I'm like, I'm kind of hoping that season 2 plays out, if at all, as good as season 1. Season 1 was worth watching. If it stays true to that, then it'll be all right. But right now, it's just like I'm hoping that for the best is what I'm doing. It's like, and so far I've seen nothing that's going to scare me away, but at the same time, I'm just very skeptical. I'm just like, oh, dude, I was like I said, I was super surprised that they got a season 2. I just felt like they ended it. I'm like, all right, sure, like I didn't think it was going to be doing good enough in sales, but apparently it must have. Um, I do like the art style. It seems really strong. But yeah, all right. And now, one that you kind of dropped a while back, and I have been continuing to
S-
watch just
1.5
because.
seasons. Yep. Wait, no, I think I
Uh,
watched it into
no,
season two.
you finished season 2. Well,
Yeah,
we're on season 4 now.
yeah.
So season 4 of Classroom of the Elite. A lot of people really like this one. Uh, I was I was on board in the beginning. I was like, okay, and then by the time season 1 ended, I'm like, nope. And you're like, no, this is pretty good because I'm still, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, and the whole classroom, like battle royale scene hasn't played through enough, and you weren't as jaded as I
Well,
was.
it was fine through season one, and then season two was like, we're just gonna make everything as convoluted as possible, and it's not gonna be followable in the slightest.
Season 2 ends with a good fight scene that I really liked, but that was
Yeah,
about it. That was my highlight of the entire series. And
90% of the budget is
season
spent on that rotoscope fight scene.
it was pretty awesome. As far as like, I did not expect that kind of quality from there. It wasn't like groundbreaking, but it was like seriously from that show the best I could have hoped for.
Yeah.
And then season 3 was more back and forth jargon. a lot of explaining of new games to play. This is one of those smart kids at a special school for the elite that everyone plays games to earn points because it's all cutthroat, but it's all games.
Yeah, the problem I have with a lot of these is like, especially if it's like they're smart kids, they're like the elite. They really don't do very smart things. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of times it's like, well, that's not dumb, but there's plenty of like normal, smarter things that you could do. And there are like dumber kids. I don't know. I guess elite is doesn't necessarily mean smart, but because some of them are smart, but some of them are elite in different ways. I don't know. Just
it's
sometimes
the
it's a little bit hard to believe.
it's let's talk for half an hour about playing rock paper scissors and how I'm going to tell you right now I'm throwing rock, and then you have the mental turmoil of, okay, well, the next 3 seconds when we throw down, is he really going to pick rock, or is he hoping that I'm picking rock? Is he thinking that I'm going to think that he's going to pick rock, but really he's going to, like, it's it's a lot of that, but with new games that they kind of just throw the rules at you right away in the beginning, and they're trying to be like, well, here we are doing 4D chess, when I'm like, I just don't care. Um, so season 4, on the other hand, has kind of started correcting itself. Uh, the gameplay, the concept is much more simplistic. You're getting more character interaction, which was good because there are a couple story threads with some of the characters that have continued, and I'm kind of happy to see further on to progress. But then to make things new, they're now second year students, and now the whole first year, you get new first year batch of kids, which to spice things up, they make one of them a complete upfront psychopath. I mean, you kind of had like the bad guy in the first, in the like, previous seasons, someone who was like, I'm menacing and I'm willing to be strong and like be forceful, but
Okay.
this person's like, no, 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 I'm might makes right. I'm unhinged and I'm just gonna be crazy, and you're gonna be
See if
scared of
that
me
works.
because yeah, because it's the Japanese mentality of no one is really upfront and in your face, over the top, brutal, and so therefore that's always a villain archetype. Like, they not only are they yelling at me, but they're also trying to hit me,
It's
and
like they've
like,
never been to
like,
America. I mean, that's just
yeah,
literally everybody in America.
it's every other Karen that you see on YouTube. It's just like, but anyways, it's that's kind of the only problem I have is this new person that they're like trying to zing things up. It's like, all right, you're not that intimidating, but let's see how the rest of them get out of this. But as far as storyline goes so far, I mean, it's already finished in Japanese, but the English dub is like 7 episodes in,
Okay.
and so far it's all right. I mean, it's better than the previous season, which wasn't that hard to do. Uh, but the fact that it's kind of correcting itself and it's having more personal drama, I guess it were, or personal storylines, is better for me than instead of throwing continuously new games and convoluted stuff. So I'm like, all right. Once again, not that impressed overall, but if you like the previous seasons, I think you'll like this one. I'm personally liking this one more than I've liked the others, so that's good for me.
Yeah.
I'll probably, like I said, I'll finish watching this. Just at this point, like I said, I was already 3 seasons deep. I'm like, I'm just going to continue watching this for the fun of it, or not. I have a cell phone to occupy my second screen experience. So, all right, guys. That's mostly what we've been watching. We have some other stuff. Well, but there's so much new anime that we'll get back to talking about some of that later too. All right. Nick, as always, you picked out the news. What do you got for us this week?
So we actually have some pretty interesting stuff this week. So quite a bit from Nintendo. Nintendo's been quiet for a while and then has just decided to pop off a little bit here. So the big news with Nintendo is that I think it's just today that they have announced that there will be a price rise. So I was getting this from IGN, but that there's going to be a price rise on a price increase on the Nintendo Switch 2, which I was pretty sure would happen. I really wish I had said it on this podcast.
Oh,
Um,
we talked about it before. We've talked about it before because the reason why they were able to sustain it for this long is we've talked about how they've had a backlog that we reported on, or we talked about the other reports being that they had produced a lot of Switches stock. They held them for a while, and by having a stockpile, they were able to prolong this inevitable price increase. But once that sold through, it was inevitable the price would increase. So yeah,
that they
that's
would
not
have to go
yeah.
up. Um, I don't remember if I said this part though, that I figure that they would wait until the 1 year anniversary had passed of the Switch 2 being out, just because like it would have been a really bad look to have a price increase literally in the same 365-day year uh, that the console had come out. That would not be a great look. So they have announced the price increase before the anniversary. I think it came out in June last year. Um, it was June 2025, right? I'm not crazy. It hasn't been out.
Yeah.
Okay.
So June 5th.
Okay, June 5th. So about a month prior, we are about a month prior. They are announcing this price increase, but it's not going to take effect until September. Um, September 1, that is, of this year. So you still have a few months to buy a Switch at the old price point, which I planned to because I knew they were going to have to I knew they were going to have to raise the price. So I was like, well, I will probably wait until they make the announcement, and then will buy. Unless because I figured they'd probably do like Sony and have at least a couple days where I buy one. They're giving me a couple months, which I'm grateful for, but I also think that is not a good. I don't think that's a good thing. I don't think that's a smart thing to do. I think that they should have waited to announce this price increase until after the anniversary, and then they should have announced it and done it all in basically 1 3 day span, one weekend or maybe even a week's worth of just rip the band-aid off, get it out of the way. Because now, what they're doing right now is they are announcing it and then letting people who really were kind of on the fence go ahead and buy, and then the price is going to change and it's going to hopefully be quieter. I think that it's just we're going to talk about it now, and then more people are going to be talking about it again in September, and it's going to be a double whammy of bad publicity. So I wouldn't have done that, but that's Nintendo for you. But yeah, I mean it's just that they should have. Well, I guess we should. I'm kind of bearing the lead here. So the increases in price specifically are $50 raise in the U.S., €50 raise in Europe, and a £30 raise in the U.K. It's already pretty high in the UK, so they're only raising it £30 or so. So that's kind of the long and short of what's going on. But yeah, I mean, I think they probably in hindsight, I don't know, like I guess they were able to get the thing launched and have kind of a nice sticker price and have a good launch year more or less with the price being what it was. So they probably are glad that they did it the way that they did. But even if they could foresee that the prices were going to go up, which they probably had a good idea that was going to happen. But yeah, so that's where it is. I think that we're coming into a point in the Switch 2 where we're going to actually start to see enough games, at least on the Nick index, to hit a critical mass where Nick will actually want to buy and play it. There's a couple games already. There's another few that I know are coming out soonish. And then there is the FromSoft game, the multiplayer FromSoft game, the Blood Moon whatever thing that's coming out this fall, and they'll continue to be more. So I think we're at the point now where I can buy it, play a little bit, and then keep it on, keep it fairly well used as newer stuff starts to come out. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. What do you think about all this, Jim?
Like I said, the price hike was inevitable.
Yeah.
The state of the world being what it is, uh, cost of production, chip manufacturing, that hasn't gotten any better. I I mean, honestly, I still don't see enough reason for me personally to buy the Switch 2. There is at this rate, I joked about it before, but I said I'll say it again. I'll wait until they come out with the OLED version, which I'll probably do around the corner. They'll probably be like, "Oh yeah, and we're going to charge an extra $50 on top of that, or $100 on top of that," which, you know,
By that time,
so,
I mean, it probably would be $100. $600 OLED Switch. That's a lot, but the fanboys will pay for it.
yeah, and that's the thing. It's just like, that or if they have a year down the road, a Switch Pro 2 Pro or something like that equivalent. I just like I said, there's just not enough reason. I would rather play almost anything else other than a Switch game. So, and Nintendo is still going on on the right trajectory of being like one of the worst companies of this current generation. That's for sure. So,
Yeah, I mean, it's not. It's like if Xbox does very much in the near future, I think they could overtake Nintendo in terms of like hearts and minds. Um, Nintendo has not really been doing the same kind of thing. So I feel like what made the Switch really great is they partnered with indies in a really smart way. They just didn't do like the Wii shovel software. They were like, okay, we're gonna target indies. We're gonna get a lot of indie games on this thing because it's not that powerful. Um, but indie games don't need a lot of power to run, so we can kind of partner with them and kind of win everybody. And in that sense, the Steam Deck has kind of taken some of the wind out of Nintendo's sails, I think, and it's kind of made it harder to kind of get back in that niche. But they need to because Nintendo doesn't make enough games to carry the Switch all on their own. They really need um, some extra firepower here from smaller publishers and developers. So until they kind of get that in line, I just don't think the Switch is going to be the Switch 2 is going to be quite as big a deal, at least not in the short run.
yeah, without a doubt. I mean, once again, Nintendo, uh, they really need to up their game in more than one way. They are kind of now as far as Xbox winning hearts and minds over Nintendo. Unfortunately, Nintendo's fans are Stockholm syndromed into never letting go, and it's just at this point it's like generational. Their parents were into it; they got the kids into it. The Switch was such a between the DS and then the Switch being such a good lifelong companion. A lot of people just can't see beyond that, and it's unfortunate, but no matter what Nintendo dishes out, whatever slop, their fans will continue to take uh, until they've had enough. Which, unfortunately, they're always hungry for some more the same old, same old. So, but occasionally Nintendo will make something absolutely amazing, and that will be just enough to wipe the slate clean for them, and then start all over. So we'll see. If they don't come out with anything truly great within the next year, then they'll really be hurting. But I still think that this is the wrong move. But no one wants to lose money in console manufacturing anymore. Uh, there's already been reports that was that the analysts were saying like, oh yeah, Nintendo sales are going to slow down. But yet they're still doing a price hike. So I think that it's the wrong move. You drop the price if anything else, but you just should stay the course. Just stay the course. Talk about a price hike, and then turn around and shut it down. That's what they should do. Like, hey, all right, we've heard the fans, and we've decided to not increase the price. And I think that would even if it's all fake, just for pomp and circumstance. A lot of people are like, yeah, go Nintendo, and then they'd continue on.
But
I think
games are
that's the
now
right way to.
$100.
Yeah. So you have to pay per play. Just
Yeah, yeah. You have to go to the bank and get a roll of quarters to play your own Switch.
But anyways, so here's hoping Switch doesn't hate the fans as much as they seem to, but I don't know. All right, screw you, Nintendo. Let's go on to the next piece of news.
All right, next Nintendo news. There was a Nintendo Direct on the Starfox remake. So I didn't see the new Mario movie, but Starfox is in that. And apparently kind of stole the show or something like that. But anyway, so they kind of referenced his cameo in the movie when they were started talking about this Starfox remake. It's a good looking game. It looks a lot like the original, but everything is obviously up-resed. Gameplay looks like it's a little bit, more dynamic and expanded out. I think it's on rails. I think it's still all on rails. You're still like kind of flying, and it's kind of putting you in the zone, so it's not open world or anything. I don't think. I could be wrong about that, but anyway, it definitely looks pretty good. And they showed the prologue to the game at the end of the direct, and it kind of shows a little bit about Fox McCloud's. I think that's his name anyway. His dad, and sort of what leads up to the beginning of the Star Fox game. So looks pretty good. It would be on the short list of games that I would buy if I bought a Switch 2, which I probably will buy fairly soon. But yeah, it looks okay. I kind of would have liked to see this at the end of a bigger direct. But I guess I felt like they didn't have enough other stuff, and so they wanted to get this out because the game is coming out in June. So I forget which day. I think it's like toward the end of June.
Of the 25th.
25th. I was going to say 25th. Yeah. So 25th of June, the new Star Fox game is coming out. So that'll probably be when they're doing the rest of their direct and kind of their big summer reveal if they decide to have one. So yeah, looks okay. But there's a lot of stuff coming out, so not sure if it'll make my list of things to get to.
Yeah, well, considering the fact that I don't have a Switch, yeah, I'm not getting
You're
to it.
like,
But
yeah, I'm done with talking about this freaking Nintendo crap.
I mean, I haven't seen the new Mario movie either, so I don't know about his cameo in that. Uh, I just, I love the original Super Nintendo Star Fox.
Yeah.
Completely ruined a generation of kids, calling a corkscrew a barrel roll. So yeah, it's just like I had a friend sitting next to me. I forgot what we were playing, but he's like, I literally did a corkscrew, and they're like, "Oh, a barrel roll." I like, you need to shut up right now. Just shut your face.
But it's so
That literally
funny.
hurt my
Whatever.
brain.
What is it, Peppy? Is it Peppy that goes do a barrel roll? It's just sounds so stupid,
I mean, hey, it was voiced, and it was amazing for the time to have
dude.
like your Super Nintendo game talk to you.
There will
Uh,
never be a game that is more far in the future in my mind than Star Fox. Seeing that game played on the Super Nintendo uh, at my cousin's house, just being like, "This is so crazy," and then seeing it on because there was Star Fox 64, right? They made like
yep.
the same thing, or probably somewhat
Well,
different or whatever.
yeah, it's a different game, but believe it required, or you at least highly recommended, you need the expansion, the memory expansion for this for little red cartridge you plugged into your console
Yeah.
for and then they did make Star Fox Zero a few years ago, and I know nothing about that, so
What
just
was that
completely
the
glossed
Super
over it.
Nintendo game that they had made before?
Zero came out in like 2017 or something like that. I
So
forget.
so what's the one I thought it was maybe it was that where they made a Star Fox. Maybe it was just Star Fox 2. They made a Star Fox 2 for Super Nintendo, fully created it, but the 64 was coming out, and they didn't want to release it because they thought it would just kind of go out to die. And so then they released it not too many years ago, but just like a Super Nintendo game, just literally came out in like the late aughts. It was nuts.
Okay, yeah, I'm just looking like, okay, no, Star Fox Zero was a Wii U platform.
Okay.
So
I
Yeah,
remember
put
Star
out
Fox
the die.
Adventures. That was like it's just weird. Star Fox is weird because it's just never really.
Adventures was a GameCube game, if I remember
It
correctly.
was,
Yeah.
yeah. It just has never really translated. It's a little bit like Sonic, but they don't try as hard to make fetch happen with Star Wars or with Star Fox the way they do with Sonic. But like it's one of those things where it's like Star Fox is just you flying in a spaceship on rails shooting things, and there's just not that much more that you can do with that. At least not more than once every 10 or 15 years. So it's never really expanded out. Adventures was like the closest they ever came to me, to really moving it into a different realm of type of game.
Yeah, they couldn't really make the mascot catch on, but
Yeah,
that same thing can kind of be said about Metroid series. They
yeah,
make Samus and a lot of their franchises was mostly known for their Smash, appearances.
right.
So I have a Little Mac, shirt, just the sprite of Little Mac and doing a couple different like the punch, jab, uppercut. And a coworker saw that and like, yeah, I used to. It's like, oh, I was like Little Mac. I was surprised. I'm like, oh yeah, you get it. I'm like, you actually understand the reference. He's like, yeah, I used to main him. Like, and there's Smash. Okay, so
Loser, not a real
yeah.
fan.
Well, I mean, at this point, like it's the only reason why it still exists in people's minds is because of Smash Brothers.
I mean,
So
yeah, they showed Star Fox and Falcon. Uh, it's Falcon. Is it Falco? Anyway, the Falcon guy. Playing Smash, and I was like, that's literally like, well, I guess the Wii U thing that they came out with. Um, but that's literally like the main last thing that you've seen Star Fox, and I feel like Star Fox could have done better with it. They could have done a little bit more. They could have expanded out. There's different game types that they could have tried, but they just maybe it just was not popular enough to really merit that. But I'm looking forward to this one if I ever end up getting around to playing it.
yeah, and yeah, just to answer the thing you were talking about before, the Switch had released on their Nintendo Classics. They did release the Star Fox 2 on there back in like 2017.
Yeah,
Uh,
that
so
was just crazy. That
that's
game
why the
actually.
fact that I forgot that happened until you mentioned it again. I'm like, okay, let me look that up.
Well,
Uh,
it didn't have much fanfare, but I remember them talking about it on Giant Bomb back then, and they were like I think Brad was like, "Yes, this is real. We are really talking about this. That actually has happened. A Super Nintendo game from Nintendo has been released in the year 2017." It's just crazy that they actually created a whole freaking game, and then just because of where it fell in history, it just didn't ever get released. It's wild.
okay. Well, what else you got for us on the Nintendo front?
All right, so Nintendo designer Tezuka is set to retire. He has been a designer at Nintendo for literally ever. Um, the little bit of the article I read said that he started out working on Punch Out back in 1984 with Nintendo, when he was still in college. So, and I guess he's worked there ever since. I didn't read too much into his history if he moved around and came back or whatever, but I don't imagine so because he's worked on Mario and Zelda. Kind of that's some of his claim to fame. So, we're gonna wish him happy trails and remember legend.
Yeah, I mean, hey, if he's set to retire at 65 in Japan, that's pretty amazing. And like to be able to do that at such an early age. So
That's
good for him.
it's pretty wild, and to just like come out of college already working on Nintendo stuff and just keep doing it for all these years. It's wild.
Yeah, I mean, all right. Well, that's awesome. I mean, to be able to be an OG creator, still working for the same company, like for all that time, like yeah, so awesome. All right then. Well, on that note, what else you got for us on the news?
Um, So the PlayStation 2 is still going to be the GOAT in terms of all-time sales, as the Switch sales of the Switch drop off. So I think I read a little bit more of this article. Nintendo Switch is at 155 million, and PS2 is at 160 million all-time sales. The Switch, Nintendo expects there to be, this we're talking about the Switch 1. So the Switch 1, Nintendo is saying they expect about 2 million more in sales. I don't know what the term is for that. I think that's for like the rest of it's basically until they stop creating it, or manufacturing it. So that's so at least 2 million more in sales. It seems like the PlayStation 2's reign of terror is going to continue on at least through the current generations of consoles. It'll probably be a little while before another system can sell quite that much.
I think it had, well, the PlayStation, one of the best reasons behind owning the PS2 was it was the majority of people's first DVD player. So,
Huge. Yeah. I
I
mean,
mean, you're not going with the death of physical media, essentially, and like the idea of something coming out past Blu-rays, it's going to be hard for people to pivot from Blu-rays because everyone just got rid of all their DVDs for their Blu-ray versions.
yeah.
It's going to be kind of hard to convince people to go outside when, especially when you can stream or download any other purchase that you want. So yeah, it's I mean, for what it's worth, you know, that and the PlayStation 2's got so cheap that you couldn't you honestly couldn't buy a DVD player cheaper for a long time. Or you're like, "Hey, for the same price or just a little bit more, my Blu-ray, I'm sorry, my DVD player will play me video games too." So, yeah, without a doubt, PlayStation 2 has a great library of games, but also uh, hit the market in more than one way because of the capability of playing movies. So, yeah, I'm glad though that the PlayStation 2 still reigns supreme. I think I would have been sad if the Switch had won out, especially with Nintendo being turned out to be what they are now. Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, do I really have that much animosity towards Nintendo? Absolutely. Only because Nintendo was my first console. I had a lot of love for them, and I just seen them slowly abuse their fan base.
I mean,
So
I would really just like to peek into the alternate reality where Nintendo kept their deal with Sony and they made the Nintendo PlayStation. Like I just like we'd probably be living in a world where Nintendo literally just like ruled the planet. Because you could just cause
that's
used
the
to
ultimate dark timeline.
it's like yeah, like completely dark timeline. Like that's like the future. That's like the Pokemon, like the dark Pokemon movie that came out on YouTube or the fake trailer that came out for it on YouTube all those years ago. That's the timeline that they live in, where like Nintendo and Sony uh, did work together for the Nintendo PlayStation, and then Nintendo had a hostile takeover coup of Sony, and then ended up becoming like the like biggest company in the world or something, and now everyone lives under their thumb. I could definitely see that happening, but yeah, I mean, just because I mean, could you imagine like all the Final Fantasy games just happening the way they happened, all the rest of the PlayStation 2 games just happening, PlayStation PS1, Resident Evil, PS2, and all the Nintendo games looking different because they came out on a different system, but probably in a lot of ways like better. Like the 64 really held back a lot of those games. Ocarina, I mean, and Mario, which was 64, would be like Mario 32 or whatever they would end up calling it. I mean, that would be just crazy to imagine that kind of world. I think Xbox would have had to buy Sega, or they would have had to like team up like in a hardcore way in order to be able to compete at all. But you never know. Anyway,
Yeah, I mean, once again, it is unique to see like what ifs, but as far as that goes, I mean, we lucked out with more choice. Unfortunately, in the end, we're all getting screwed by all the companies. So yay, not so much. All right.
well, those companies are also getting screwed by each other. So Sony has reported a $750 million impairment loss due to underperformance of Bungie. So they bought Bungie for $2 billion a while ago, as a panic move after Xbox bought Activision, or Microsoft bought Activision. Um, but yeah, so they're saying 765 million impairment loss. I've seen some other numbers. Kotaku had something about 500 something million. So obviously, I didn't do all the research, but there's a significant amount of money that Sony is claiming they have lost due to Bungie. This is ostensibly due to Marathon, in large part. Marathon is a very expensive game. Um, Not quite Concord expensive, I don't think, but very expensive and has not had good sales. Strangely enough, Marathon has sold like the best on Steam, and it has not sold very much on Steam. Like I forget how many sales it's had, but I think it's like less than a million or less than 2 million for sure. And for a game of that size, it would have to, or of that budget, it would have to sell just a ton. So yeah, they have um, taken a pretty big hit. I hope for everybody's sake that they can turn it around and Bungie can be Bungie again and make something cool and good. But that's kind of where they stand right now. So I think Sony is good in a lot of other facets. So I don't think this is really going to kill them in the long run, but it's definitely not a place that they want to be.
Yeah, it's their recent push for live service games has really not panned out. Uh, I feel like the writing was on the wall before they started doing all these things, but I also feel like it's slow Japanese corporate culture being like, no, 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 it's fine, we're good. And then someone being like, I got the moment they raise their hand, like, yeah, you're fired. We don't want to hear what you have to say.
The nail
Don't
that
tell us
sticks
we're
up
wrong.
gets
Yeah,
hammered down.
yeah, that's a popular one they like to say. So that's in the end, uh, yeah, Bungie, like it's not they're not Destiny, they're not pulling Destiny numbers anymore, right? So it's just
Well, that was the thing too, is people were complaining, Destiny players and Destiny fans and people that just hate Bungie were complaining that they had abandoned Destiny, for Marathon. And I'm kind of like, well, I kind of get it. I mean, Destiny, you've had Destiny 2. The runway is kind of running out on that game. Everyone can see it. I mean, I guess if you're a hardcore Destiny fan and you just don't like Marathon, then you're gonna have to find something else to do. But if you like Bungie games and you're in it for Bungie, then I don't know. I feel like I mean, those people probably have tried to switch, and maybe it's just not really panning out. They just don't really want to start literally over at zero when they have all this loot and stuff built up and all these years and all these friendships and stuff built up in a game like Destiny. Um,
I feel like Destiny's a very different game though. Like that's the thing is Destiny is great because they have the puzzle mechanics. They have, it's a good core aspect. It's like I haven't checked back in with Marathon, so I don't know if they've how much they've changed since we played it originally. But I just don't think there's no way Marathon can live up to the way Destiny first rolled out and the way Destiny 2 played. I mean, I know people who have tattoos of Destiny. I'm going to be amazed if anyone has any
Yikes.
love for um, Marathon. I mean,
Quite
well,
like
people
that.
have tattoos of Borderland. I mean, it's just like there's a fandom, and there's if you have a group of friends and you have a good time, then that's one thing. But I've not heard back from anybody about anything about Marathon. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
think there was one YouTuber I was watching, and he was talking about how like Marathon, it's just a little too hardcore. It's at least a little too hardcore. It's too difficult. It's too much for a certain niche crowd of people that really like games to be that difficult and that style of game and all that stuff. And I was like, that's, because I've also heard from other people, that it's really good. As much as I played Marathon, I liked it okay, but people who've played it extensively are like, it is really good. It gets, it starts pretty good, which I agree with, but it also, the type of gameplay builds on itself, and you're like, oh, okay. And once you really start to get it, you really start to have even a lot more fun. But that's not really conducive to um, the a widespread audience, which is what is that other game that is that kind of stole Marathon's lunch? Came out last year. Same kind of gameplay. People loved it. If you're listening to this podcast, you've already thought of it and you're screaming it in your car as you're driving down the road. It's an extraction shooter. It's
My eyes are glazing over because it's all the same to me.
dang it! It's like right in my tongue. It's I know it's like on the front page of like freaking everything right now, but I'll look it up later. I'm gonna name the episode after it. I'm just joking. I'm not gonna do that, but I should. Anyway, so yeah, that's all I have to say about all that.
Yeah, you just end it with a Forrest Gump quote. All right. So, all right. On that note, let's see. You got one bit of news for us, right?
Arc Raiders. Arc
Ah,
Raiders. I was able to
there
look
you
it
go.
up. I knew it had a generic name. Um, okay, one more bit of news um, that I'm going to talk about. Just mention apropos of nothing. Um, there's a Steins Gate reboot game. I think the game is literally called Boot or Reboot. I forget. But it's a game coming out August 20th, 26th, 20th of this year. So look out for that if you're interested in Steins Gate. You and I have never shown any interest in Steins Gate, so this is completely apropos of nothing, and you would have no reason. I have no reason to mention this release whatsoever.
I say, speak for yourself. I've been a fan of the series for a long time.
No, you haven't, and there's no
Uh,
reason for us to talk about this piece of news.
though this is the second reboot of the game, I believe. So, yeah, not the first
Reboot.
time they've done this. Yeah, that's a reboot. Uh, anyways, that's cool. I hope that it's done well. It's supposed to have, I think more full, more visuals and voice acting. So that's always exciting. If they make it just enough modern tweaks, I think I'll be all right. Um, we're doing a special podcast about
Damn it,
Sidekick.
Joe.
That's why he's getting.
It's supposed to be a surprise.
By the time anyone listens to this, we've already been canned all our stuff. So all your reactions will be forever frozen in time. But yeah. So okay. Or you can always just edit that out, but you won't.
I
It
will.
takes too
I will
much effort.
not. I will forget.
Okay then, guys. Well, if you made it this far, we appreciate it. This has been another Dead Pixel, episode 175. Nick, as always, what are the words of wisdom you have for the people out there today?
Always make sure that when you clean your DVDs, that you use a nice, soft, clean cloth, and never touch the underside of the DVD. But also, really never scratch the top side of the DVD because that will actually ruin it even faster. At least that's what we believed.
Yeah, underneath the sticker is where all the data is actually. Also, when you clean your DVD, go from the inside of the circle out. Don't ring it around because if there is any hard chunks, you're just going to scratch the entirety of the whole circle. All right. Yep. And if you did damage your stuff, well, good luck. Resurfacers aren't as common as they are because there's no more video rental stores that lets you buff them out for a fee. So, God willing, you still take care of your stuff. Until then, this has been ADP. Y'all take it easy.
Bye.